Hi, and welcome to Valley Veterans, a program sponsored by the Miami Valley Veterans Museum in Troy, Ohio. And we are very fortunate to have with us today Valerie Milliken. And she is the operation director, the executive director, the woman that puts all her time and effort into the Operation Ventures and Caregiver support. Welcome, Valerie.
Thank you for having me today, Carl.
We are anticipating a time we'll get to know you today, but you have much to share, which goes all the way back into the 60s. I won't say exactly when in the 60s. And then comes right up to the present time. So Valerie brings with us a great deal of knowledge and experience in the areas of caregivers, from personal experience and also a corporate experience, if I can say that. She's been in many places, throughout the country, and that includes travel by way of her husband's work and so forth, and military, as oftentimes we know people in the military move about quite a bit. We would thank you for your service. We often get that as veterans, but certainly we thank you for your service to the Caregiver organization. So tell us from your own aspect and your own point of view here, how you got started.
Well, I knew from a very early age that I wanted to serve people. I grew up in Piqua, and so I'm a Piqua native, born and raised. Graduated from high school, married the military, got my feet wet immediately in being a military wife and being involved in the military culture and community, working with my brothers and sisters, spouses, I guess you could say, the spouses of our military.
It's a family affair.
It is a family affair. It is very much a family affair. And loved being part of the military community, loved helping people. And as the years went on, things changed. We faced Desert Storm. Libya. We were through Beirut. We were through the Lebanon crisis as a military married couple. So there were a lot of conflicts, and then of course Desert Storm.
Desert Storm is a major point in your whole career.
It is.
And things are tied so much to that because of your husband.
Correct. My husband is sick with Gulf War illness, an undiagnosed neurological condition for a lack of better diagnosis so that the Veterans Administration could actively and effectively compensate my husband for his illness. They've diagnosed him with an atypical presentation of multiple sclerosis, but in fact, to this day, 29 years later, they still don't know what's really wrong with him.
And you're obviously his super caregiver as well as family members, and you've extended that into the organization that you work with now, as we've mentioned. When did you actually establish an organization that extended your efforts outside of your own family?
I had a vision for establishing an organization to support caregivers, because as a caregiver, I fall into a group of people that has been not adequately or effectively supported by the Veterans Administration. So I knew that there was a need for pre-9/11 veteran caregivers to be supported. Out of that, I went back to school to get an education, get my master's degree in public administration, nonprofit work.
And looking at your biography here, you've had a lot of education.
A lot of education, yes.
Right.
Yep, education to be able to take care of my husband, education to be able to serve others.
We could say you've had homeschooling with your husband, self-taught, and then various times in 2- and 4-year universities and colleges.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what your degrees are in.
Well, I have 2 associate's degrees, one in social work and one in allied health. I have a certificate of medical assisting that goes along with that. And then I went on and got a dual bachelor's degree in healthcare management, human resource management with a minor in medical research, so that I could be able to effectively help my husband's providers decide what was wrong with him, and also so that I could make sense of what was being done on the Congressional Research Advisory Committee on Gulf War Illness, which I've participated in for over 16 years.
Well, that speaks well of your resume. And you mentioned congressional. So you've had to deal with government entities, agencies, organizations for some time. And that can be a struggle for all sorts of reasons. You want to give us a little bit of time travel through having to work and negotiate through government agencies and to seek help?
The government agencies are difficult. On the local level, we have a great Veteran Service Resource Center here in Miami County. Selena Lloyd runs a really tight ship for Miami County Veteran Services, and they're always willing to help, but they're limited in what they can do on a level with the Veterans Administration beyond local assistance. So then having to navigate both the Veterans Benefits and the Veterans Health Administration has been definitely a challenge, one that I have not taken lightly, and I've taken notes along the way so that I can help others streamline the process. I'm not one to take no very easily, especially if I see that there's a benefit to pushing through and getting services that veterans or their caregivers need. So I work to help get this caregiver program, the comprehensive family caregiver program that is currently in place with the Veterans Administration.
Well, you certainly have a unique position. It's not like walking into a job and getting a cubicle someplace. You've spent years being a caregiver yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You've understood this not only from your husband's situation, but others. So, and we'll repeat this later on in the program, but how would people get a hold of you if they wish to use some of the services that you can provide?
So if a veteran or caregiver or a family member has a need that is being unmet and they don't know how to navigate the system, they can reach us through Operation Venture and Caregiver Support by calling 937-570-6460, or they can email us at operationventure2019@gmail.com. We do have a website, although our website is currently under construction, so it's not exactly real fluid at the moment, but it is operationventurecaregiver.org.
What about Facebook?
We have a Facebook page. Our Facebook page actually is our most active social media, most active interactive page with our veteran and caregiver community. And we use that to post weekly updates on the activities that we're doing, to recognize very significant military and veteran notable days in history.
Mm-hmm.
So we like that page a lot.
I'm sure Facebook and other social media platforms have certainly been a significant communication device that has served so many purposes. So individuals who are aware of the needs they have and become aware that your organization can be helpful. Can you give us a couple of examples of the actual care that you've given?
Gosh, there are a lot of examples, starting with the Memorial Day tornadoes in 2019 and helping a couple of Vietnam veterans get placed into housing, receive the services that they needed. And when doing that, uncovering that they were not being adequately compensated by the Veterans Administration for their injuries. Excuse me, we helped those veterans get tied into veteran service offices to be able to augment their compensation claims. We have assisted caregivers. One caregiver in particular actually was in Texas. Her husband was in a hospital. We heard her call, her plea for a hot meal because the hospital's cafeteria closed at 2 o'clock during the week and was closed on the weekend, so she didn't have a hot meal, and she'd been there for a couple of weeks. She hadn't had a shower, and the hospital facilities didn't provide for that. So we were able to launch an initiative where we utilized Google Maps, and we located the Vietnam Veterans of America Texas State Council, who provided her meals. We are so grateful to them. And they provided that service at no charge. We were able to locate a church where she could go and get a shower. Her husband had been given a not so good diagnosis and appeared to potentially be a terminal situation. We were able to reach out to the United States Navy Reserve Base where they were at and have pastoral care provided to the family. So while we are based in Miami County, Ohio, We will reach across the nation to meet the needs of any of our veterans and caregivers to the best of our ability. We will plug them into the resources. Venture actually stands for Veterans Empowerment Network to Understanding Resources Earned. So many veterans and caregivers do not understand what services and what organizations are out there to support them. So our goal is to plug them in.
So you're kind of like an interpreter, translator, enabler in all sorts of ways. You have to meet so many different situations. In doing so, you've had organization, of course, which involves some of your 8 children that have assisted you. You have been a Navy wife, so you're very close to that part of the armed services. We have, of course, the Air Force, the Army, the Marines, Coast Guard, and so forth. And it's been many needs by many people from the diverse branches of the armed forces. And of course, so many of us are familiar with the Agent Orange PTSD situation from Vietnam, but your focus, because of your husband, has been the Desert Storm, and since, to some degree.
I would not say that our focus has been that. I honestly, if you really want to know the truth, I would say about 80% of our clients are actually of the Vietnam era. I'm very passionate about veterans. I don't care when you served. If you served our nation, I want to serve you.
Very good. That's a slogan you could put up there with the rest of them all the time.
It's about one veteran and one caregiver at a time. Each person comes with their own unique challenges, and so many don't understand what they're facing, and they like to sit back and just say, I'm okay, I'm taken care of, when you can see that there's a need and we can meet that need or exceed that need by plugging them into a resource.
And we are referring to this program because of where Valerie lives and the Veteran Services with Selena Lloyd and so forth. And we're thinking Miami County, but of course you're working across the country. Miami County, the Miami Valley, state of Ohio, regional, throughout the country. So somebody who is in Arizona, California, and so forth, through the website, or I should say through Facebook, phone numbers, contact, emails, they can contact you. It sounds like possibly of a 24/7 type of opportunity.
While I like to say no, we really don't have a 24/7 opportunity. We do take phone calls and return them as promptly as possible. We are actually, office hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. However, if there's somebody in crisis 24/7 a day, we're available. And I will tell you that I have received those crisis calls at 4:30 in the morning. The great news is that we have a crisis hotline. We have the ways to get these people the assistance that they need.
You had mentioned the one situation where a church was able to provide a shower, so you have those contacts in faith-based organizations as well.
We definitely reach out to our faith-based organizations. Not everybody that comes to us is a Christian or a Jew or a Hindu. We do not discriminate based on your faith, but we do reach out to the faith-based organizations across all sectors because we believe that it takes a community. It takes a community to help our veterans. It takes a community to support our caregivers and their families. And so we don't turn anybody away, and we don't turn any organization away in its ability to support our veteran community.
I think some people who may be watching us are saying, that's a service I could really use. I wonder what it costs.
There is no cost.
There is no cost.
There is no cost to what we do. We do accept donations towards our services in regards to meeting the needs of our, our bills in regards to like our telephone services, and eventually we hope to have an office. Right now the office is out of a file cabinet locked in a hallway in my home and a section of a barn in my home. So we are looking to expand to being able to get into an office because we're just a year old. Our organization actually received its 501c3 nonprofit status in February of 2020. Welcome to COVID. And so it has really stifled our opportunity for fundraising and growth in regards to having a facility. However, on the flip side, our services became life-saving. In March of 2020. We had the pleasure of partnering with Cavelli Enterprises, Panera Bread here in the Miami Valley, where we receive donated goods from them on Wednesdays, and we deliver on Thursdays and Fridays to veterans and their families that are shut in, including widows and widowers. And we have been doing no-contact door drops of groceries and breads and pastries, as well as cleaning supplies and disinfecting items over the last year, and that has been a big eye-opener of what our veteran community is lacking. And so we're adjusting some of the programming that we're going to do going forward.
It is, as this program is being recorded this very day, we're passing that 1-year anniversary of what they consider the beginning of the pandemic, and everybody had made several adjustments in their programs and organizations and outreach. Give us a little bit more overview of things that you anticipate coming up. Our program, of course, may be watched by you folks at home almost any time of this year or the next year, but give us a little idea of the general contacts and organizations and events that you generally might associate with.
So what we're most noted for prior to COVID and even after COVID are our veteran resource fairs. So we will have, I guess, for a lack of better terms, a pop-up event. So we will have veteran resource fairs at various locations throughout the Miami Valley. Currently, we have several that are scheduled for 2021, and then we're already looking at our 2022 calendar to see what opportunities we have for resource fairs. What we do with those veteran resource fairs is we bring together multiple veterans organizations and multiple organizations that support the veterans community. So for instance, the Miami Valley Housing Organization or the Consumer Protection Organization for Public Utilities. We bring those organizations together that can offer additional support and guidance to our veteran and military and caregiver community so that they understand what's available to them, because a lot of times there's a little different programming for the veteran groups than the general public. At the same time, the general public is always welcome to participate in our veteran resource fairs, and a lot of times they learn of different resources available to them as well. So that's one of the big things that we have going on for 2021. We are in the process of preparing to launch, as we've discovered a need to be met, and that is veteran coffee chats. And right now in our discovery, we're trying to locate places to go that have comfortable chairs and lots of windows for sunshine. That is a non-alcoholic based environment, because we have a lot of veterans who really enjoy being able to be in a community, and due to the COVID pandemic, we have found that the isolation is really causing a problem, and we want to make sure that we are offering an opportunity for them to not feel so isolated. So we're looking for places with social distancing available in a safe and healthy environment. So we're looking forward to launching that program here in the next month, and that's very exciting. So look for that to come out on social media.
I think some of our viewers are saying, wow, that Valerie's a one-stop shop.
I have a great board. I have a great board and great volunteers, so I'm not the only one running the show here.
That certainly is what it takes. The Miami Valley Veterans Museum in Troy is how we sponsor this program called Valley Veterans. And we know the importance of volunteers in so many ways, and contacts and outreach, and it's endless all the way around. That contact information again, would you want to recite that again?
Yes, our phone number is 937-570-6460, and our email address is operationventure2019@gmail.com. And then you can find us on Facebook under Operation Venture and Caregiver Support. as well as online. We do have a website, but it's under construction right now, and that's operationventurecaregiver.org.
And it's good to hear you explain what each one of those letters meant, too. That was exciting, how that has worked together. I know Miami Valley Veterans Museum, we go by MVVM, but we have to make sure we don't confuse that with half a dozen other organizations as well. You gave a little bit of a look there down the road, but again, share with us what your vision, if I may use that word, is down the road as this organization meets so many needs.
So our vision is to work right now diligently to get a brick and mortar facility so that we can invite veterans in to be able to do the veteran coffee chats. We also are working to put together an opportunity for veterans who receive care at the medical facilities through the Veterans Administration, where they will be able to come and fill out their travel claims online, because the Veterans Administration started a new program for the travel reimbursement on October 1st of 2020. Veterans are now required to go online to do their travel claims, and many of them do not have access to internet, do not understand how to use the computers or tablets and those sorts of things. So they're having to wait, some of them up to 6 months, to get reimbursed for that travel. So we're looking to have a brick and mortar facility where we will be able to sit with them and help them get plugged into that in a safe, protected information environment, as well as have the veteran coffee chats, host some educational sessions. We want to make sure that we're helping veterans get plugged into employment services, mental health services, physical health services, and just even educational opportunities within recreation. We have a lot of veterans that don't know the recreation opportunities that are out there. Like the Ohio State Parks has a fabulous veterans program, and we want people to be plugged in to where they can improve their quality of life.
Definitely, all the way around, and recreation is a major part of that. And I think we've observed the lack of recreation or social contact during this time this past year, and how detrimental that has been. And so being able to offer insights into that is very, very important, I'm sure, in many ways. Give us a little bit of indication of what you see the importance of the family of veterans, how their families will find comfort in what you do.
When somebody chooses to serve in the military and they have a spouse and they have children, it is a family affair. Just because the service member is deployed does not mean that the spouse and the children left behind are insignificant. It is truly a family affair. And what happens is you see a family that becomes very cohesive, and they actually adapt to their environment in creating a family through their peers in that environment. So President of Operation Venture and Caregiver Support is Kayleen West. She has been my best friend since March of 1989, when I was launched into Hampton Roads, Virginia, which was the largest military base we had been stationed at, and is the largest military concentration in the world. So Hampton Roads is a very large, intimidating location. She is a very integral part of this, and has helped motivate me to keep moving forward and serving other people, especially on the days I get discouraged.
My I can't imagine you have any.
Oh yes, I get discouraged. Yes, I do.
That's where family is important again.
Absolutely. My children the same way. As I'm sitting here today, our son is actually with my husband today, so that I could be here. And I'm fortunate that we have a large family. Not everybody has a large family, but we have a large family. So most of our children reside within 15 minutes of us, and they help out in multiple ways, not just with my husband and I, but they help out with Operation Venture and Caregiver Support. And they serve other people in other ways in the community. So what I have discovered is through my husband's service and my service, our children now serve. And of our 8 children, we have 2 sons that are Navy veterans, enlisted Navy veterans. We have a son-in-law who's an Army veteran, We have a son-in-law currently active duty in the Navy, and we have a daughter who just recently resigned her commission out of the Navy.
Wow.
So
Talk about a family affair.
they work hard to serve as well, and it is truly a family affair. And working with the veteran community, we're finding that's the case in all veteran families. It is a family affair. People are intentional.
I think I have been blessed by having people out of nowhere see a hat I'm wearing or something and say thank you for your service. A Vietnam veteran, we may not have been thanked years ago, but we certainly have been thanked recently. And I think your organization is part of that thankfulness, and those that are serving in your organization should be thanked for their service as well. I think we're realizing that it takes a whole united country here to get behind a need, especially for our veterans who have given so much. Do you have a few final words that you'd like to leave with our audience?
Get involved.
Mm-hmm.
When you see a veteran, get involved. Ask them how they are. Ask them if they have an unmet need. Thank them, especially the Vietnam veteran era veterans. Thank them. Even to this day, that is the one generation of veterans that I feel has had the greatest disservice.
Mm.
And I believe that it is important that we thank them. We welcome them home and we embrace them. Thank the caregivers, thank the children. Please do not forget the children, especially in our post 9/11 veteran community. Don't forget the children.
I think so many times we do forget the caregivers that are sometimes left alone, and now they may not have been aware of your organization, but now can become more aware of it. Publicity in any way possibility, and we've mentioned those, including Facebook. There are so many opportunities that so many folks need to take advantage of and be aware of. As we close out this session of Valley Veterans, I want to thank Valerie Mulliken for being with us today. It's been a real pleasure. I've learned so much about the opportunities that are out there to serve. The Miami Valley Veterans Museum has been very fortunate to become united with Valerie and with several organizations that she's mentioned here today. And we are very proud and actually happy, I should say, to have such a connection with several people, including Valerie. Valerie, we've said your name and address and so forth several places, and I hope I pronounced it correctly.
Yep, you did. You did good.
And for those at home that are watching this, you'll have the opportunity there to see the information on the screen as far as contact information, and we do encourage you to do so very much in the days ahead when you have needs, or in the future to keep Valerie and her organization in mind. We thank you very much for coming. Ladies and gentlemen who are watching this today, we really encourage you to consider supporting in ways that may be donations of time, effort, money to different organizations such as Valerie's, to the Miami Valley Veterans Museum, other agencies that are working so hard for our veterans. Keep them in mind, thank them for their service, and I want to thank you, Valerie, very much for your service today. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Carl DeSantis for Valley Veterans, and ask you now to keep it in mind, not only the Valley Veterans, but the other programming that comes out of the Veterans Museum in Troy. Thank you.